Hi everyone, and welcome back. I am joined today by my husband and business partner, Brad.
Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for coming back. Today we are here to talk about why is now the perfect time to buy your dream home. We're going to go down a quick pros and cons list and highlight some of the, well, not some of, a lot of the pros.
All right.
And one of the cons.
Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
There's only one con.
Well, then it must be a good time to buy. Let's go.
Yes. So, Brad, why is now a perfect time to buy?
A lot of reasons, like Jessica just said. But number one, there's a lot more inventory out there for you guys. We were seeing month supply of inventory less than 1 month. And what I mean by month supply of inventory is a balanced market is 6 months of inventory. So anything less than that is a seller's market, anything above that is a buyer's market. So we're still in a healthy market right now. We're at 3 months or 3+ months. But when you compare it to how we were 2 years ago, it's drastically different.
We've tripled the amount of choices.
Yeah, we've essentially
buyers.
tripled the amount of inventory that we had even 1 year ago, even 2 years ago. So there's a lot of options out there for buyers. What does that mean for you? It means buyers are able to take their time and actually look at houses. You can actually schedule a showing and actually go to it and think about it before having to write an offer. Height of the market, you're almost having to write an offer before you even showed up to the house. You know, within 2 days of a house being on the market, sometimes we were seeing offer deadlines. We're not seeing those nearly as often. However, there are still some multiple offer situations out there. Again, we're also seeing new construction homes, more inventory there, and also more deals to be made there with the builders.
The builders are finally kind of caught up.
Yeah, builders are finally catching up. They have inventory and they're ready to deal.
I was going to say too, with taking your time, before you used to not be able to sleep on a decision or even see the house for a second time. And I feel like whenever we were buying a house, we felt like, I don't think we came back to see this house a second time, but we had time to sleep on it before submitting an offer.
Yeah.
And that was before the pandemic and everything, but it just made a huge difference. You feel like you're making a sound decision. You have a chance to process everything. And we're able to, sellers and buyers are able to do that. They're able to take their time a little bit more. Also, one of the things that is great about having more homes to choose from is inspection timelines. So used to, we were seeing like either no inspections and no option period timelines or no inspection timelines at all. Buyers even offering to say, hey, I don't need to do an inspection, which we don't ever recommend anyway, but we were seeing buyers do that just to be competitive. Now we're seeing the option period or that due diligence period somewhere between 7 to 10 days. So there's plenty of time to get all of your inspections done. Your Uncle Charlie, whoever you might need in there to see the property, have time to get that done. Number 2. We are seeing more seller paid closing costs.
They're back.
They're back. In fact, I just closed a property last week for our buyer clients, and we were able to negotiate $20,000 of closing costs for our buyer.
Well, that's because you're really good at what you do.
Well, thanks. The seller was motivated. They said, hey, we need to get this house sold. They were already halfway across the country, and the house needed some repairs, so they gave a $20,000 credit for the buyer to do those repairs after closing. That's almost unheard of a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so what we're talking about with seller paid closing costs, or at least the ones that we're seeing come back more prominently, is height of the market. Buyers, when they had to make an offer, had to offer to pay title policy, had to offer to pay a survey, had to offer to pay, all the closing costs that come up in a contract process. And even in the inspection process, they were really limited as to how many repairs they could ask for, because in most cases they were in multiple offers with favorable terms, and sellers had more leverage back then to where we really couldn't negotiate for a buyer. We could, but it was really tough because there was so much more interest that a seller could say, well, we'll just go to the next one. When we're working with our buyers, what we coach them on in the inspection process is that we want to look for the 5 core safety functioning items of the home. So the roof, the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC, and which other one?
The foundation.
And the foundation, arguably the most important one here in Texas because of the way the soil is around here. Sellers are working with buyers in order to accommodate those requests, which is huge for a buyer.
Oh, and one of the last things that we're seeing is sellers be open to paying for rate buy downs, like interest rate buy downs for the buyer. So these rate buy downs means that, let's just say the interest rate is at 7.5%. A rate buy down means buying down the rate either temporarily or permanently for a set amount of interest rate points, and for either a temporary time period or a forever time period, the length of the loan. So sellers are offering to make those kind of concessions so that the buyer can afford to buy their home. So again, a couple years ago, those kind of things just didn't happen. So this is why it's a great time to take advantage of the market that we're in to
well, the opportunities for negotiations and even the incentives that are out there, because what Jessica was talking about with the rate buy downs, that's not a cost that a buyer can just say. In some cases, a rate buy down could be upwards of $10,000 to $15,000. A buyer can't pay for that. It has to be a seller paid closing cost. However, that's worked into the deal. What we're trying to say is sellers are more open to working with a buyer on that, because ultimately, once they're under contract, they don't want to terminate. They don't want to sit on the market even longer. So it's in most cases, it's in their best interest to cooperate and make it sure that it's a win-win for both sides and move forward to the closing table.
Yeah. Instant equity. Buyers are walking into homes with instant equity, and here's why. Because homes have been sitting on the market for a longer time, and the sellers are very motivated to get those homes sold, we are seeing buyers be able to offer less than sometimes the house is listed for. In fact, we're actually even seeing sellers make a lot of price reductions. In the third quarter alone, 41.6% of sellers did a price reduction of some kind on the market before selling their home. So that's really a big chunk of the market of these price reductions that are coming down. Well, so buyers are taking advantage of that, offering less than what the seller is asking for the home and walking in with instant equity. Their appraisers are coming in and saying, well, I know that you're under contract for $450,000, but I actually think the house is worth $475,000. So they're walking in with $25,000. How great is that?
Oh, it's awesome. That's what we want. I mean, that's what we want for our buyers every time, is to make sure that you're getting a good deal from the very beginning, or not just now, but well into the future. And what do we mean by that? Well, even with the rates being higher than what they have been previously, they're still not historically, or as high as they were historically, like in the early 80s, even into the 70s. But what we're saying with that is, even in today's current market, if we can get you instant equity with a high appraisal and a good contract price, that gives you even more leverage of when rates go down for you to already be in your dream house and then go ahead and refinance it and save even more money. So it's a win-win.
And that's our one con, is that the interest rates are a little bit higher than they have been in the past. But considering all the pros that there are to buying right now, they far outweigh the con. And that con, if and when rates do come down, you're already in your dream home. You don't have to go fight these buyers who are now sitting on the fence. As soon as rates drop, all these buyers who have been sitting on the bench or on the fence for months and months waiting for rates to come down are going to come off the bench at the same time. And then you're going to be competing with them for not only a lower interest rate, but for the house. And that's going to drive the competition, which is going to drive the prices back up. And if you take advantage of the market that we're in, you're already going to be sitting pretty in your dream home, and then be able just to refinance and not have to go shopping and competing with everyone else to start over. In the meantime, you already have instant equity, and the longer that you're in your home, the more that prices are going to continue to appreciate. That's everything we've seen from economists across the country, is that home values will continue to increase. So we want to read you a little quote, because I think this is really fascinating to end our video today. So I'll read this to you. In 1971, the interest rate for a mortgage was 7.33%. Sounds pretty similar to today's rates. If you waited for interest rates to go down, you wouldn't have purchased a home until 1993. You would have rented for 22 years waiting for rates to go down. Meanwhile, the value of real estate quadrupled. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. So that's our advice. Please consider taking advantage of the market that we're in. Contact us for any questions that you have about your specific area and the advantages of buying in today's market.